everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. I have a really fun topic today. Chanel. Of course it's about Chanel bags because we love them so much. And the topic is Chanel seasonal bags. Are they worth it? Are they better than the Chanel classic bags? Or are the Chanel classics, the timeless classic double flap or the 255 reissue being, for me, the classics, together with the mini rectangular and the mini square and the wallet on chain, but the wallet on chain being kind of a small leather good as well. So those are the classics, right? As opposed to the seasonal bags. So I'm going to show you my collection of seasonal bags. I don't have, for some standards it's many, but for other standards it's not a lot. I have 4 of them to showcase to you. Let's begin with, I have them all laid out, with the oldest one from around 1999. This one was meant to become some sort of classic because it was available for several seasons. This is in suede. You can see how it changes color. When you touch it, it's super, super soft. It was also made in lambskin leather. It was made in felt and different wool textures and jersey as well. But this one is in suede. You could see the double C on the side. This one is, let me cover myself up so you could see. This one is supposed to resemble actually the Chanel sunglasses, but you could see the review of this bag, and I'll post it in the description box down below. But the Chanel sunglasses cases, the first ones made by Luxottica from 1999 onwards, were reminiscent of this bag, and they kind of have this shape, this kind of also called butt shape. So you could see Naomi Campbell on the catwalk kind of holding the bag here and leaning on it while she's walking down the catwalk, because Lagerfeld wanted it to be a sort of like a pillow. You could sleep on it while you're traveling. This one, when it came out, it retailed for more than the actual classic Chanel bags. So this one cost more also to produce, probably because it has really high-tech materials like carbon fibers and stuff like that, which make it extremely lightweight. And then it's covered so complicated, so difficult to kind of create this, to cover it in leather without creating any wrinkles whatsoever. They don't even do that today anymore. Like, this technique is long gone. And then inside it has like this corset effect. I have the chain that you can take out and put back in. You could attach it here, take it off. So this one was around for maybe 3 or 4 seasons, and then it was discontinued because it was very expensive and because the shape of it was so futuristic for the times that it was hard to kind of, I guess it was way ahead of its time. That's how futuristic this bag was. It's incredible. It's still, as far as vision goes, to me, this beats the Gabrielle bag by light years. Like, if Chanel wanted something really new, this is the real new bag. It's still today. It's beyond. And this kind of shape also like lays really comfortably on the hip when you're wearing it with the long chain. But anyway, so yes, I would say in this case, a seasonal bag is worth it because it's so revolutionary, it's so modern, it's so new, and it's so well executed. I love the whole kind of concept of it, that it blows my mind. Like, this thing is forever. It is timeless just because it's perfect. And so aerodynamic and futuristic. So yes, in that case, I would say not that it's better or kind of that it became iconic, because it didn't, because it disappeared after a couple of seasons. So only like hardcore Chanel fans like me remember it. But it's definitely worth a purchase if you find one on the secondhand market nowadays. And they don't go for a lot of money because a lot of people don't even know what they are. So that kind of, makes them very affordable. Then there's another aspect to analyze. The classic bags reinterpreted for the occasion, or as a seasonal bag. So I have the example here from the pre-Spring Summer 16 collection. This is a jumbo in denim, embroidered with perfume bottles, Chanel perfume bottles all over it. In the back as well. And on the bottom, the side, But it's so gorgeous. Even the pocket aligns. You see the embroidery of the bottles continues from the pocket to the rest of the bag, as well as in the front here with the bottom of the bag and the flap. So this one, you know, I love Chanel perfumes and I love Chanel bags and I love denim, and I always wanted a Chanel denim bag. So for me, the best way to kind of get as close as possible to all of these elements was to get this bag. So when this bag came out, I fell in love with it immediately. I was like, okay, this bag was made for Dacob. And because it's a jumbo, and I'm not a big fan of the leather, like the Timeless Classic double flap jumbos and maxis, because they're so heavy. They weigh you down like crazy. Not just because they're leather and then they have the leather inside of them as well, but also because the chains are so hefty. It's just really a lot. And the double flap adds even more to them. The seasonal denim jumbo is a single flap. And you can see, this is how I stuff it, with kind of papers and plastic, and I just wanted to keep its shape whenever it's in storage, whenever I'm not using it. But it's a single flap, and this facilitates, I mean, it makes it so much lighter to carry. It's great. So in this case, I would say a seasonal bag that is playing with the concept one-to-one in terms of size and cut with a classic is definitely worth the purchase. Also because this one was half the price of the actual leather jumbo sister. So that's like a huge difference to consider. So I would say in this case, if you fall in love with the particular topic at hand that kind of is represented on the classic bag turned seasonal, then it's totally worth it. You just gotta really love it. Meaning, I've seen a lot of people reselling their seasonal bags more than they would resell their classics. And that's because they fall for the trend of the season, and then they kind of fall out of that trend. They fall out of love with that trend. And that's not what Chanel is about. You know, Coco always taught us that fashion goes out of fashion, style is forever. She also said she's style, so she wanted to tell us that she's forever. So I would be very cautious when purchasing a seasonal arty version of a classic Chanel bag. Like, for example, this one. I would really go for one that you know is you, not just that season, but it's you forever. I could never part with this bag. It's just so beautiful to me that it really, the fact that it's seasonal only facilitated the purchase because it was cheaper. But I see this one as a classic, as a, you know, to me it is the classic jumbo made for Dacob, you know, with perfume bottles and in denim. So there you have that example. Moving on to the next one. Okay, now this is a very special bag to me. This is the Cruise 16 collection. It's in chevron. This is almost the size of the 1112, the medium timeless classic. Again, we have the positive thing that this one is a single flap, not a double flap, but it's much more simple in its structure, meaning that it's not leather on the inside. It's padded in this, you know, it kind of resembles the leather on the inside. This one is padded with burgundy lining, the black version. These came out in all colors. It came out in rose, you know, pink, lime, aquamarine. There was a minty color, orangey, red, yellow, navy, all sorts of colors. I loved the black because it has a particular shine to it, and because only the black one had the classic, you know, Chanel burgundy red on the inside. Well, let me just cover. Oh, okay, you won't see that. So you can see here the burgundy interior. So we have leather. The inner flap is leather as well as this kind of lining, this kind of border, and then it kind of goes into this cottony material inside. It's heavy duty. Again, half the price of what its timeless classic medium brother or sister would be. Size is slightly different, as I said. It's just a little bit longer, perhaps, than the medium. Again, this is the reason why I purchased this seasonal bag First and foremost, the fact that I loved the kind of aged chevron leather. Very, very thin chevron pattern there. And second, because this chevron and this kind of aged on the back, you can see how simplified it is? It doesn't even have a back pocket, which makes it even cheaper still to produce. This is aged lambskin leather. It's not calfskin. This one is lambskin, which is a very, very robust leather. It's very grainy. It looks very used, yes. And I'm sure that this made it cheaper for Chanel to get the hides, to get these leathers. I think because ultimately they're not that pure, almost like lacquer grain lambskin leather that they use for their timeless classics. So I'm sure this leather was a bit cheaper. It also smells a bit more chemically treated, because to get it to look this way, you gotta treat leather chemically. You can see like all of this texture, as beautiful as it is, it does come off as quite artificial. Now, that was the reasoning. So which is super rare to find with Chanel, aged lambskin. The size, this one also came in a smaller, but I really like the size. And also the chain is relatively short, so when I wear it crossbody, it does land almost like fanny bag, kind of at this height, like a, shorter fanny bag, but it lays a bit lower. I love to wear it crossbody because it doesn't fall on the hip. Love that it's lighter because it doesn't have the double flap, and that it doesn't have all of these kind of extra pockets and things that you need to protect it. It's super squishy and soft. It's an incredible texture, and the fact that inside is also canvas or cotton rather than leather makes it even more user-friendly. So that's the reason why, and yet it's Chanel, you know what I mean? It's totally recognizable for what it is. I went for the black for the reasons I told you, but not just that, because it's the color you get least tired of, and it's the most classic of them all. And the gold hardware is aged as well, which means it does not, you're not afraid to use it. The timeless classics have this high gloss chromed gold, plating or toning, which makes it much more delicate to use. The only part that does not really resonate very well with me in the case of as of late, Chanel seasonal bags like this one, is that the rings that they use, the rivets and the rings and all of these kind of like little frames that they kind of click into one another, they are not rounded. Like they have actually kind of a 90-degree angle going on there. They're classic counterparts, and now I could take, even though this is a seasonal bag, they still use the classic rings. They're completely rounded. They're smooth and round, so they like literally go inwards like that. They don't have an edge, a sharp edge, sharp corner, or sharp edge. So this means that whenever I pull the chain through them, the leather, or in this case the denim, doesn't get scratched. This is a problem with this bag, because if you pull on the leather kind of rubs against these rings that are very edgy. And that's something that Chanel has been doing on these seasonal limited bags. I'm not liking that, Chanel. You should kind of, because it damages the leather, so I have to be extremely careful not to pull the leather. And in fact, with this bag, I usually, even more than wearing it crossbody, I end up usually wearing it like this, like that. I put my hand in my pocket and the bag just kind of falls down here. It's really cool if you have like a long jacket or a longer shirt. It looks really fun how it dangles. It's a cool way of wearing it. Or I literally put the chains like that and I wear it like this. And I do that not because I think it's cool to wear it this way, but because I don't want to stress too much the leather intertwined in the chains, because I don't want it to rub against the edges. So in this case, you got to be careful when you're purchasing or when you're hunting down, a seasonal Chanel bag, because most of them are going to have these nasty little rings, because maybe Chanel secretly wants us to, buy them regularly as they kind of use up quicker. But to me, a Chanel bag has to be forever. So I don't like the notion of purchasing something just for one season. I really don't. The fourth bag, and the last one, is from Fall Winter 2013. This is the last time I have seen a Chanel, a lambskin leather produced in the quality of, old school 80s and 90s Chanel lambskin. 2013 was the last year. After that, their lambskin, this kind of soft, supple, buttery lambskin. Look at this shine. I mean, this bag is incredible. This is super tiny. It's like an envelope. Literally, this bag, you could see how I store the chain and everything in a video that I made just on like how to store chains on Chanel bags. I can post that in the description box down below, or maybe in a link at the end of this video. So I'm not going to go into how I store this one, but it has a relatively long chain. So I don't wear this one crossbody. This one, I literally see this as a necklace, even though it has even like a pocket in the back. I mean, it's unusable. Like if I were to put pressure on the pocket in the back with my nails, I would literally scratch the lambskin leather there. Like you can't really stress this pocket. As beautiful as it is, and as amazing as this bag is made, because the inside is also completely in leather in the burgundy Chanel. Let me take this out. It's so little, it's so hard to see. But trust me, it's burgundy inside. Here you can see a little bit. It even has two pockets on. No, I mean, despite the fact that it's so tiny and slim and thin, and it has this kind of angling here, the plissé or whatever, the bent. So the bag is not really this size. It's even smaller because you could fit so little in it. It still has two pockets inside and a pocket outside. It's just like a kind of a concept of a Chanel bag in miniature, which to me makes it an ideal necklace, and that's how I wear it. I literally wear it around the neck and I let it just dangle. Or sometimes I would connect two chain links up here, more or less. I would tie them with like a satin strap nicely so that they don't open up, so that I could kind of wear it at this height, more or less. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing Tina today on a unicorn, because wearing Chanel bags, it's like flying on unicorns for me. So this is an interesting example of a seasonal bag. When a Chanel bag kind of hits it on the head, or hits the nail on the head with conceptualizing even more a classic, because this is obviously reminiscent of the lambskin timeless classic, either the mini or the small, even though we know that it has the size of the square mini, which is a classic Chanel shape. The rectangular ones came after the square ones, as far as the minis are concerned. This is an extra mini, obviously, but the fact that it's so experimental in the way that it's executed makes it very covetable and collectible. Also extremely timeless. And something that identifies it as a seasonal bag is the fact that Chanel, around 2010 or 11, started putting these little tiny, on the double C's, they would add the little stamps that say Chanel Paris. I'm going to come in as close as I can. It's right there. This is something that, obviously the shape of this bag is also very seasonal, but that stamping makes it also very clear that it is a seasonal bag. And of course, this very modern, futuristic kind of tubular piece of leather here through which the chain is running through. So a piece like this, I don't wear it a lot. It's very delicate. The lambskin can get scratched easily. I wear it for extremely elegant occasions when I totally style everything up and then I need like a really cool necklace. That's a necklace piece. Nothing fits in there. Maybe the zippy compact Louis Vuitton wallet, and that's it. And also you don't want to damage the interior leather of the bag. The bag is just like a beautiful concept of what a Chanel bag is in extreme miniature size. So you could see kind of like the reasoning behind all of these different Chanel bags and why the purchases. One downside is that most seasonal bags are made in Italy, not in France. However, of the 4 that I own, This one from the 90s is made in France, but it's a very difficult, it's very, very hard to make this bag. So the French ateliers or the factory outside of Paris, it was the only one capable of doing it. And this one with the particular embroidery and stitching of the bottles, this jumbo was also made in France. The other two were made in Italy because they're more simple. You see, like, this is another thing. Mostly the seasonal Chanel bags that kind of are reminiscent of the classics are a simplified version of the classics. That's why they're also cheaper, and that's why they're also easier to make. And that's why the factories in Italy kind of get the job to do it, rather than the French factory that dedicates its time to the more complicated bags or complicated finishings of the bags or the actual really iconic classics as the reissue 255, for example. Would I, suggest, does the seasonal win over the classic? No, it doesn't. If you can afford the timeless classic, get the timeless classic. Up on, the Olympus of all bags to me is the 255, the classic 2.55 Chanel bag in its reissue form today. Nothing beats it. Nothing really, as far as beauty goes, quality and everything. But all of these are whimsical and can become iconic to yourself, to your own identity, because they're so different from the classics. It's very easy to wear a classic Chanel bag and just look like everybody else. Because even though they are really expensive bags, a lot of people have the classics. And you see them a lot on the streets, whether they be an imitation or authentic, it doesn't matter. You just see them a lot. The seasonal bag gives you more a chance and opportunity to shine with your own identity and individuality. The classics are a bit more tricky to pull off because you got to pep it up to kind of make them pop on you. You have to have something different with yourself in order to make a classic pop. It's easier to make a seasonal pop. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this video. If you have, please do thumb it up. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. You prefer the seasonal or the classic? And subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. No matter what it is, seasonal or classic, we still never give up on love. Love you guys. See you soon. Take care. Bye.